Yeah, solid win for the football Bears. Was really pleased with the crowd that came out. Our football team showed up, performed, was lights out early. Had a few setbacks in the second half. We were able to overcome it, get a win. That's always the main thing. Excited about this challenge going to UT Martin, second year in a row. Jason does such a good job with the UT Martin football program. He's a tremendous head football coach. He always brings in top-notch talent, and we got to make sure we're ready for the challenge.
What do you feel like with some of those in the second half? After you go up 21-0, I don't know if you just kind of felt like they had it, or were just some things that didn't go that wasn't going well that Lindenwood was doing?
Yeah, we continue to play hard, continue to play aggressive. Things just didn't go our way at some of the drives. Obviously, when you create some turnovers on defense, you want to put the ball in the end zone. Weren't able to do that a few times, but again, the guys played hard, finished strong, and ended with a win.
You figure you get your offensive line totally healthy this week?
Yeah, I hope so. I think Big Eric Cade's going to come out to practice tomorrow, work a little bit. Christian Loiza is getting back in the mix. Justin Curtis still needs to be evaluated for the floating rib to see if that's moved around and done anything for us. I'm hoping to get him back as well. Hudson Lillybridge has still been battling with the ankle, but he's tough as nails. He's stayed in consistently, and I think we'll be good to go.
Well, we talked about it after the game the other day, how the offensive line looked better as you've gone on with continuity between this group, and how you might bring in 2-3 other guys to get back in the mix. How do you not take a step back when you're going to be moving, you're going to bring in some guys who are going to be back in their spots?
Yeah, luckily they took about 1,000 reps in fall camp. So I think we got some good work there. They should feel pretty confident moving forward that we can plug and play at this point.
Can we see Jaden this week?
Excuse me?
Bex?
Jaden Bex? Yeah, he'll be good. He'll be back ready to go.
Yeah, UT Martin, this seems like it's almost a conference game with you guys. I mean, you've seen a lot of them in the last 2 or 3, 4 years.
Yeah, we're extremely familiar with the UT Martin football program. We've had some great games, great battles back and forth. And if you needed any motivation to perform, just put on the film from last year, and it'll get you in the mood to get ready and go practice and get ready to play.
What
were conversations like with Thiessen after the game? And what's his availability look like going into this week?
Yeah, we talked about it as a staff with him personally. He's a young player. His emotions got the best of him. The guy was leaning on him, and offensive line play. They never see anything till someone reacts. The guy was sitting there laying on his face after the play, not excusing what Mike Thiessen did, but I've got Mike Thiessen's back. He's a good young football player. He's a big part of our program moving forward, and we're going to continue to grow together and pour into him and try to make sure he makes better decisions. But, learn and move on.
What do you see about UT Martin? What are you seeing kind of what they do kind of?
Yeah, year in and year out. I mean, constant good football. They're tough, they're physical, they're aggressive. They like to pound the rock. You're going to see a ton of stretch, ton of zone, some counter from their offense. And the one thing that Coach continues to do down there is he finds elite running backs. I mean, the transfer that they have in now is, I think, just as good as the guy from last year. And then he surrounds his quarterback with elite playmakers on the perimeter. And that's just talking about the offense. We can go over to the defensive side. They have a ton of run pressures that they do. They like to build themselves on you can't run against us. So we need to make sure that we have some schemes ready to, match the intensity of their pressure and then be able to work on the perimeter and get the ball out of the quarterback's hand and pump the ball vertically.
Ryan, I wanted to ask you, you bring up the running back. I watched the UT Martin game with North Alabama yesterday while I was watching a couple of other games. Looked eerily similar to Steve Hall, the running back for Lindenwood, who had a very good game against you guys defensively. What do you need to shore up, change as far as the run defense goes for the Bears, going from one quality running back to maybe an even better one this week?
Sure. I think me and you talked at length about the respect we have for Lindenwood's program. They have good players. I mean, the kid from Lindenwood had some serious juice. And again, I think it helped prep us for this week going against a UT Martin offense that loves to run the football. They've got big, strong offensive linemen. They're nasty. They're physical. We just got to continue to be gap sound, make sure we're doing a good job doing our job. I think that's one thing that we've grown from game one to now is just understanding that you don't have to do too much. The scheme fixes itself, and as long as you do your 111, we should be successful on defense.
You sick of UT Martin? It's non-conference every year, man.
Yeah, I'm pumped up about the drive. It's gonna be exciting drive. 2 years in a row. Yeah, two years in a row with UT Martin. It's quite the challenge. So we're excited about it.
How does that game get scheduled every year? Did Petrino come in here and have anything to do with the Petrino?
No,
Okay.
that's above my pay grade on how things get scheduled. But I do look forward to working with the new AD Patrick Ransdell on some future scheduling matchups. I think that'll be a new exciting part of the job.
Going into that, you had penalties the first game, and then losing your composure the next
Sure.
game. After the Lindenwood win, put the win aside, did everybody else progress the way they wanted to, playing within themselves, not causing problems?
Yeah, I think so. I think again, we still had some penalties. Part of the game sequences. You're going to have some issues here and there. We just got to continue to make sure that we're getting the calls in efficiently. We're making sure our quarterback makes sure the pre-snap alignments are right, and he just sets it and gets ready to go. Again, outside of Thiessen's issue, I think we played a clean football game, and that's what it's going to take this week. There's not a ton of love lost between these two teams, and it's going to get physical. It's going to get violent at times. We just need to make sure that we're the more disciplined football team.
Nothing cascaded like a couple of games, that call led to somebody losing their temper, led to this penalty, led to that punt.
Yeah, I think as you watch the football game, that didn't happen, and that's growth.
Just seeing big plays that you guys are still allowing, just whether it's a passing game, last drive of the game for Lindenwood, and I just think last year back to UT Martin, it was like the first or second play they come up for a big touchdown run. Just trying to limit those because those still creep in. Those still been creeping in a little bit into this team.
Yeah, we've been better this year on eliminating explosive plays, but obviously with a minute to go in the Lindenwood game, you don't want to give up a 3rd and 18 bomb for a 70-yard touchdown pass. That's pretty curable. Stay on top, understand what the situation is in the football game, and keep the ball in front of you. I think, again, we've done a good job defensively on keeping people pretty bottled up. And anytime you can hold an opponent, don't really care who it is, to 14 points, you're doing something right.
How have you seen the discipline in that front seven, the first two levels, just not allowing some of those explosive runs that it wasn't plagued last year, and it has been cleaned up a little bit this year?
Yeah, I think that's been major improvement. I think that one of the things we concentrated on in the offseason is we actually put a film reel together of, okay, are you doing your job? Is it the scheme? Or are you playing hard? And most of the issues weren't necessarily scheme. People trying to, again, do too much sometimes and just not understand that you just do your job in the fits and we'll be just fine.
Coach, I know winning these one-score games are high on your list of priorities now. And that's all it seems to be against UT Martin the last 3 years. I think margin victories like 4 or 5 points on average. Everyone one-score game. What would it mean to go on the road and flip that script?
Yeah, we definitely need to make sure we're ready to be road warriors because we only have 5 home games. That's not a normal schedule. And again, most of the times when you do, you don't necessarily go to Montana, go to UT Martin on the bus. But it is what it is. That's the script we have to play, and we need to make sure that whether we're winning by 1 point, whether we're winning by 50 points, that's irrelevant to me. Get some W's in the win column, and this is a huge test for us. Again, going on a long bus ride to UT Martin, playing a really tough, physical, well-coached football team. Our guys are up for the task, and I think we're going to have a good week of prep, and we'll be ready.
Coach, what do you think led to I guess the best way to describe it would be historic level of success that Jacob Clark and the offense had? That was a passing percentage higher than anybody's ever had here in Missouri State before. What were kind of the keys to the night that Jacob and the receiving corps had?
Yeah, I think it's just a compilation of being in the system for 2 years and understanding exactly what Coach Petrino is wanting to do on defense. I mean, I feel like we have one of the best offensive play callers in the country, barring any level. Nick does a great job of putting people in position to make plays, and one of the guys you're going to hear from later is one of the unsung heroes of the other night, Hunter Wood. Anytime you need a big play, big catch, a tough block, he's there to make it. He's a comfort he and Jacob have a level of comfort together that's fun to watch. It seems like, again, they always find each other in the right moments, and that's been tremendously helpful. And again, I think the offensive line did a nice job. And the one thing about our backs that we've been continuing to work on is backs, yeah, you want to run the ball, you want to be great when you get your hands on the football, but you also want to be active when you don't have the ball. Can you catch out of the backfield? Can you put your face on a D lineman or a blitzing linebacker to make sure Jacob has the time he needs?
Hunter, that's a player who, you think back to his freshman year where I think a lot of people remember the muffed punts and everything, just how rough some of those were. To see him develop and stick with it, which a lot of people wouldn't have, stick with it, turn into a slot receiver, catching 10 passes in a game. Just what is it about him that's you've seen to be able to persevere and grow into a receiver that's replacing Braylon Sharp at that position?
Yeah, he's a tremendous young man. I have the utmost respect for Hunter Wood. Like you said, there were some struggles early in his career here, and he stayed with it. He kept working. He persevered. He's the son of a coach. I wouldn't expect anything less than that, and a successful coach at that. And the one thing about Hunter Wood is he comes to work every single day. He's excited about being on the football field. He just got married. He had every reason to walk away from football and call it good. He loves what we're doing here at Missouri State football. He enjoys being with his teammates. He enjoys competing. That's the one thing. He is a true competitor. Again, in life and football, don't bet against Hunter Wood, because I have a feeling he's going to come out on top. And overall, I think that goes also to show what we're about here at Missouri State football. A lot of people talk about family-oriented programs, being about relationships. Those two guys sitting there in the back of the room wouldn't be here without that being our primary focus in this organization.
When you realize you can play slot, just you played on the outside a lot. You had Raylan there, having an All-American year in the slot last year. How early was it this offseason where you're just like, that's our guy there?
Yeah,
Play that.
I think a lot of it was out of necessity. Again, losing the production from Raylan Sharp was big. Dash came in. We were hoping he could do some things in the slot. But again, I think it's about creating matchups. That's one thing that we've leaned heavily on our offensive staff for, is being able to put guys in position to create mismatches for their defense, advantages for our offense. And I think it was more or less just how it kind of played out. I don't think it was a plan necessarily going in, but he's been doing a great job. He's been successful there, and he can play inside and outside. And again, I think it's all come together nicely.